Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So the new and improved Inergy Apex has finally arrived, and in this video we're going to discuss whether or not it lives up to the hype. We're going to look at the pros and cons and put its capabilities to the test and talk about whether or not it's a worthwhile investment for you. Let's get to it. So the Inergy Kodiak and now its successor, the Apex, are very popular in the emergency preparedness community, and for good reason. They are pound for pound the best units on the market. I can proudly say that this new Apex is probably one of the best things I own next to my truck. In terms of how this ranks as a preparedness necessity, I would say that after you have your food, water, security, and medical provisions taken care of, then this is a unit you may want to consider. The ability to have an almost indefinite power supply in a grid down situation is invaluable in my opinion, especially one that is actually safe to use indoors as opposed to most gas generators, which will require significant modification in order to use them indoors safely, and one that is virtually quiet for operational security purposes. You don't want to be attracting attention in a grid down situation, and the fact that it's lightweight and portable makes this an indispensable unit in my opinion. Now that said, there are still some areas that I think could be improved, but by and large it still remains the most powerful unit in its class today, and it has numerous features that easily set it apart from the competition. It's important to note that although I'm talking about this unit in the context of emergency preparedness, the majority of use that I personally get out of it is not related to prepping at all. I use my Kodiak around the yard, when I'm out on trips, when I go camping, when we're doing road trips, things like that. So there's a lot more uses to this aside just SHTF. So having this unit for over a week now and putting it through a litany of tests, I can confidently say that people who capitalized on that pre-sale really got an amazing deal on this unit. Unfortunately, the window for the initial pre-sale has closed, but you can still get a secondary pre-sale price and save up to $550 if you use the coupon code Canadian Prepper or go through the link in the description. Like I said, there are some small issues I have with the product, but these are mostly superficial when compared to the product's overall functionality. So let's first talk about what the Apex is and what sets it apart from most of the competition on the market today. The simple definition is that it's a portable plug-and-play solar-powered battery that can power larger electronics and small appliances. We'll get into all the technical details in a minute. Now, in my personal opinion, I probably would have branded this as the Kodiak 2.0 because in spite of some pretty significant enhancements that have been made, and of course a better price point for those of you who got the pre-sale and who still can get that pre-sale, the actual difference between this version and the last is kind of similar to that of the different generations of smartphones. You know, faster processor, nicer screen, but nothing overly dramatic. We're going to talk about all the details of what you're getting over and above with this unit compared to its predecessor, the Kodiak, in a minute. First, I want to talk about some key features of the unit. So it's a 1100 watt hour battery, or 1.1 kilowatt hours. It has a 3000 watt startup or peak output with a 1500 watt continuous output using a pure sine wave inverter. Now, I've been able to sustain a continuous draw of over 1500 watts. However, that's going to put significant strain on your battery. You're going to have all of those 3 cooling fans kicking in to keep the battery at a safe operating temperature. Now, one of the selling points of this unit is that it has up to 2000 recharge cycles, and it achieves this by using a different type of lithium that's called lithium nickel manganese cobalt oxide. Yes, it's a mouthful. In terms of the various types of lithium battery, these have the best overall balance of cost, lifespan, performance, safety, power output, density, that sort of thing. And this is why they're the choice for most electric vehicles on the market today. You still will be able to use the battery if you do use up those 2000 recharge cycles, albeit at a diminished storage capacity. But this isn't going to be that relevant because unlike any other battery system like this on the market, this one is actually going to be expandable, not only with lead acid and AGM deep cycle batteries, but also with proprietary lithium batteries. These are only going to be offered by Inergy, and I know some people have made complaints about this, but I can understand why the company did this, because when you're playing with lithium, it's a dangerous good for a reason. And when you start mixing different lithium battery types with this Apex platform, that's when you have potential safety issues. So I can totally understand why the company wanted to keep that aspect proprietary. For a lot of people, this is going to be a big game changer, because this means that you're going to be able to carry more power in 3 to 5 times less the weight as you would have to with a lead acid battery. Now, Inergy is saying that you're going to be able to expand it with up to 3 lithium cells. I'm not sure exactly how much power is going to be in each of these cells. I'm going to presume it will probably be around the 1 kilowatt hour range, but that's just speculation, meaning that if you were to buy additional batteries, you could potentially crank this up to 3 to 4 kilowatt hours, which is a very, very large amount of power when it comes to your ability to power small electronic appliances. And while lithium may be more expensive up front than lead acid or AGM batteries, in the long run, they're a lot cheaper because they last longer and they charge faster. Now, of course, if you do add additional batteries, that's going to significantly increase your charge time. However, this process has been further optimized by the integration of an MPPT charge controller. MPPT stands for Maximum Power Point Tracking. This is a more advanced and efficient charge controller that's going to allow you to maximize the capabilities of your solar panels under certain conditions. And this is a very significant feature that not a lot of other solar batteries in this class have. What this means is that you're going to get faster charge times. So you're going to get 500 watts input, so you can expect to charge the unit in about 3 hours. How it works is this is a 1.1 kilowatt hour battery. What this means is that if you were to charge it with 1.1 kilowatts, it will charge in an hour. So if charging at the maximum input of 500 watts, you can expect to charge it in around 2 to 3 hours. So if you were to add 3 additional batteries, which would bring your overall capacity up to 4.4 kilowatt hours, it would take you approximately 9 hours to charge off of 500 watts of solar panels in ideal sun conditions. Now, one feature I really love about this unit over its predecessor is the ability to see the actual charge input power. Because this unit has pass-through charging, meaning that you can charge it from the sun while you're actually using the device. You can have a bunch of things plugged in and be charging it from the sun at the same time. This is very important if you were in a situation where you were trying to use electronics throughout the day, but you still wanted to have power in the unit to carry you through the night. What's cool about it, though, is that it shows the net charge or discharge of the unit. So, for instance, if you have 500 watts coming in through a solar panel and you're only using 300 watts, what you're going to see on the screen then is a left arrow indicating that power is going into the battery, and it's going to show approximately 200 watts of input power. However, if you have 500 watts coming in from a solar panel, but you're using 700 watts, then you're going to see a right pointing arrow indicating a 200 watt net discharge. And it says this right on the screen whether it's charging or discharging. So you know if you're filling up the battery or if you're depleting the battery simply by referencing the screen. The other reason why this is really awesome, because this feedback is going to allow you to find the best, most optimal place to put your solar panels and the exact angle to put them on to achieve maximum input. So it's going to tell you right there how much power is coming in from those solar panels. So on an overcast day, you want to know, am I getting any charge whatsoever? All you have to do is look at the unit and it'll tell you exactly how much of a charge you're getting. In addition to that, you have a more detailed power bar now broken into 100 increments, so you're getting a power bar from 0 to 100% as opposed to the original Kodiak, which only had the 10 LEDs that indicated 10 to 100% respectively in increments of 10. If you plan on using your Kodiak mostly around the home, I would recommend you go with their 100 watt storm panels. There are several different kits that they offer, but if you want something that is extremely lightweight and portable, you should go with their Lynx panel, which is also being sold at a pre-sale price right now. There are 6 different solar kits which Inergy offers, and they range between 100, 300, and 500 watts. So if you want to maximize the solar charging of your Apex, you'll want to go with the Gold kit, which includes 5 panels, and you can get that in the ultralight flexible Lynx panel, or the heavier but arguably more robust polycrystalline solar storm panel. I'll talk more about the different types of panels in future videos. Now, one more comment about safety. The Apex has these 3 circuit breaker buttons on the side. If one of these pops up, it just basically means that the unit has put itself into a safe state of shutdown. You simply push one of those buttons and the unit will come back on. So this is to prevent things like overcharging and overheating. It's pretty evident that the Inergy engineering team has put a lot of thought into the safety features of this unit. And that's something important for people who are considering doing a DIY project with lithium. If you actually crunch the numbers on the amount that it's going to take in materials and of course the time, and if you're not an expert like the engineers who work at Inergy are, you run the risk of making fatal errors when you're working with this kind of stuff. There's a reason why lithium is classed as a dangerous good and it can't ship on airplanes. It's because there is some volatility to it. Now, 99.99% of this is mitigated when a system is properly engineered. If you have the proper expertise, access to the proper parts, and you have all the time in the world for a DIY project like this, then more the power to you. But for everybody else who's not planning on making a career out of building lithium solar battery systems, then this is the best value that you can get as of May 2019. Now, if you are concerned about EMP, I personally made myself an EMP box for this particular unit, as well as my other electronics that I would want to preserve in the very rare chance of an electromagnetic pulse. You can go and watch that video. I'll post a link in the description. There's 1,001 ways to make a Faraday cage to protect this investment, and I would say that if you are planning on not using the unit for a long period of time, that it would be good to store it in one. Now, as indicated before, there are some things I think could be improved. The Apex doesn't have the sleek, sexy look of some of the other systems like this that are on the market today. It definitely has a more industrial look to it, but it's really built for functionality over fashion. So for myself personally, this is not a factor. I would rather have a unit which was chock full of usable features as opposed to something that looked really nice but lacked in substance. Now, as for the USB ports, I think it probably would have been good if they had left the 4 normal USB ports and built an additional 2 USB-C ports. Now, it's cool that they've integrated Qualcomm charging here. That means that you don't need to use additional DC adapters or AC adapters, which you could have done, and you still can do, of course, on the Inergy Kodiak system. It's nice that they have it on there, but I still think they should have kept the 4 normal USB ports on there. Like I say, not a game changer by any stretch of the means, but maybe a slight inconvenience for some people. Now, the next thing to note is that the 5-pound weight increase over the original Kodiak is quite noticeable, in my opinion. It doesn't seem like much, 5 pounds, but when you pick it up, I personally can feel the extra 5 pounds. Now, that said, it's still like 20 pounds lighter than its closest competitor. So this is only a criticism compared to the original Kodiak. It's still the lightest, most portable power system of its sort on the market today. Hopefully in future versions they can continue to find ways to decrease the weight, because I do believe that that is a very good selling point. I do think that the DC output ports could use some caps on them just to provide a little bit of ingress protection. Now, you're not going to achieve a lot of ingress protection with a unit like this. It's not waterproof, it's not water resistant, it's not dustproof. You may want to keep it in some sort of case when it's not in use. But one thing they did incorporate is a 3-position power switch, meaning that the DC ports are not always live as they were in the past. You can, however, switch between DC and USB, and AC, DC, and USB all at once. So this allows you to use the full capabilities of the unit if you want to power smaller appliances, or you can turn it to the DC USB only option, which is going to have a lower resting power drain, because you're not going to have the sound of the inverter and the cooling fans, and it's just going to be quieter. So if you're wanting to charge a cell phone and you don't want the noise of the cooling fans, then you don't have to have that. Now, one of the biggest criticisms of this is that they're no longer using a Nutric adapter. So if your panels do have the Nutric plugs on them, you're going to have to buy the adapter in order to get this to work with those panels. It uses an EC8 input plug. This is just a bit more user-friendly. I'm not really sure why they switched over to this. It may have something to do with the new charge controller that they're using, but that's just something for your consideration as well. Overall, though, I'm very impressed with the performance of the Apex. I think anybody who got that pre-sale is going to be very satisfied when they get their unit. And like I said before, there is still time if you wanted to capitalize and save yourself $550. Use the coupon code Canadian Prepper before June 7th and you'll get that price point. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comment section with regards to this unit. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out. The best way to support this YouTube channel is to support yourself by gearing up through CanadianPreparedness.com or BugoutRoll.ca. Premium quality gear at the best possible price using the incredibly secure and easy to use Shopify platform. We offer free shipping to the United States for orders over $200 USD and free shipping to Canada over $75. So support the channel by supporting yourself.